Hello there, welcome back to my channel. So today I thought I would make a box. I'm going to be using the hummingbird pad. I'm going to be using the classic lace creator card dies. I'm going to apologise in advance because it's not a fully formed idea, but I've got the bare bones of where I want to go with it. So I'm just going to pop those out the way a second, and I'm going to bring in my trimmer, and I'm going to bring in some pearl card. And the first piece I need to cut is going to be 4 inches. Oops, some glue's decided to go for a wander. 4 inches by 11. Okay, and I don't think that's going to be wide enough for what I want next. So let me just grab another sheet, and I want a piece that is 5.5 inches by 7, and I want a piece that is 6.5 by 7. Let's check what so, is that going to be okay? So I need another piece for that one as well. So obviously all these spare bits of card I can use up elsewhere. So we want 6.5 by 7. Okay. So I'm going to start with the 4 by 11. I'm going to turn it over so it's pearl side down just to make it easier, and I'm going to score it at 1/2 inch and then 2.5, and then I'm going to turn that round and do the same again, so 1/2 inch and 2.5. Okay, and then this is the 7 by 6.5. So that needs, so on the 7-inch side we're going to score at 1/2 inch at both ends. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it round, and I'm going to score again at 1/2 inch and then at 2.5. Okay, I think that's right. And then on this 7 by 6.5, so on the 7-inch side again I'm going to score at 1/2 inch on each end, so 1/2 inch from each end. You can rotate it if you want to, and then again 1/2 inch and then 2.5. Okay, so we've got on both of these pieces you're going to score in at 1/2 inch on each end, and then you're going to turn it round and score 1/2 inch and 2.5. So you've got a 1/2 inch here tab, and then you've got the 2-inch side of the box. Okay, so let's pop that one out of the way for a moment, and I'm going to bring in my dies. So I've decided to use the sort of more, this one here, which is sort of more swirly, and not the one with the diamonds on. Okay, so I'm going to start with the larger piece, which was the 6.5 by 7, and then cut inside down. So on this die you'll see there are cut lines at the sides and all the way along the top and back down the sides, and this is not going to cut. However, it probably will leave an indentation. Okay, so just be aware of that, that you may need to hide that. Okay, especially on pearl card. So I'm just going to line it up. So I want pretty much these cutting edges to be on this 1/2 inch here that we've cut away. So and I'm just going to line that up so it's nice and straight, and pop that tape there where it shouldn't be on the cut lines. And then I'm going to pop this one in. And again, I'm just going to pop a little bit of tape on just to try and keep that in place on both ends. I'm just going to pop a little bit of tape there because that bit is probably going to be cut away anyway. So let's bring in my Gemini, and what I've done is I've just made sure that 1/2 inch tab is the bit that's hanging over, so if there is a groove when it goes through the plates, it's not going to matter because that is the tab to glue my box side together. So let's just pop that through. Hopefully, I know it's quite a filigree die, so I'm hoping it's gone through. If not, we might have to do a little bit of cut and tidy. Let's see, it's gone through perfectly. Release that tape. Let's keep that for next time, maybe. And again, we can go back and release the other side. I'm just gently easing this out. Just give it a tap. Just give it a helping hand. There we go. And it is a coated card because it's the pearlescent one, but it has cut through nicely. So just going to pop those bits out gently. First piece. Okay, just going to give this a little tap. Okay, so that's got rid of most of the pieces. A couple of little pieces there. That's it. Okay. So now I'm going to come back to this other piece. This is the one that was the 5.5 by 7, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing again. So on this wider side, so we've got the 1/2 inch, we've got the 2 inch, and then we've got our piece here. So again, just lining those cut lines up with the edge, trying to keep it nice and straight. And then I'm just going to pop that tape down, and then this piece is coming in, just trying to make sure it's all got a nice equal distance round. I'll just reuse one of these pieces of tape, hopefully, just to keep that there. And this one should fit fully on the plate because it's not quite as long. Gently easing that out. Just give it a tap. Sorry, sometimes it just helps to loosen things up. Just taking these tapes off so that we can go back over there, and then we can just ease this out. And be gentle with it, because if you pull too hard, what you will do is just stretch the fibres a little bit, and you don't want that. So just easing it and giving it a little tap every now and then, just to get that out. Okay, and I think it's all cut through, so let's just pop those bits through. Okay, and then I'm going to come in with my scissors. So this piece here, we can go ahead, cut that right down, and we're going to cut it to where that's 2-inch piece starts, and then I'm just going to go around. I'm just going to cut that like that, so it's just, because these are our tabs for sticking the box together. So if I just put that across like that, then I can go down from the top, so we'll get rid of that piece. Like so. In my bin, and then the same again on this side, so we're cutting it right down to that 2-inch part, popping our tab in, and again. And I can come straight the way down, like so. Okay, so now we should be able to start to pop this together. So what I'm going to do first of all is just burnish these score lines that I put in. So that's going along all of these little edges where we're going to be gluing, just making sure they do sit down nice and flat, because that will make it easier for us when we start to assemble. And then just be careful on this piece here, because obviously you don't want to bend your die cut piece, you know, because the embossing machine has put a line in there, so if you did press too hard on that, it would think that that's an embossed line and bend it there, and you don't want to bend at that point. Okay, so there we go. So basically with this box, so these pieces are here just to support the box at the top. We have got a smaller piece to go on the bottom. I think this is the bottom, and then that other piece is going to go on the top. Okay, so let's start assembling this. So I'm going to use a red liner tape. Let's have a look. We could go with that one that's slightly thicker. So what I'm going to do first of all is just go ahead and put tape on all of our edges. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just do that, bear with me. Okay, so I've gone ahead and put my tape on there. The other thing I want to do just before I forget, and I think it'll make it easier if I do do that now, is just to bring in this pad. And I am going to be using, I think it was this pink one, or it might be a brighter pink one at the back. Let me just check. Yeah, it was this one. So I'm just going to take this page out. And I need to start by cutting myself a piece of 4x6 and a piece of 3x6. So if I cut it to 6, and then I can cut my 4x6, and then I can cut my 3x6. Okay. And there's two ways I can do this, because this is going to go behind here. Just checking whether I want the plain. I might actually just do the plain. So I can either glue it behind and then pop it through, or what I am going to do is, just moving that out of the way, is just pop it through the die cut with this on. So what I need to do is just make sure I'm catching on that end, so you can feel it when the blade is on this outside edge. And if the blade embosses a line in here, it's not going to be that much of a problem, because it's going to be underneath our pearl anyway. So just going to pop that on and through. So that's the first one. That should fit perfectly behind, like so. And then if I just pop that bit off, and again just feeling that slot onto the edge of the paper, just going to stick that down, and then that can go through. And if I do this now before I stick this box together, it's just going to make it easier for me to layer this up. So I'm just going to check that that doesn't interfere with the fold. So I'm just going to take a little bit off that end, and it'll probably be the same with the other. So let's just go ahead and do that as well. Sure, that should be fine. Okay, so I am going to use tacky glue. You could use your dotty tape pen, anything like that, but there is quite a nice substantial thick border round in order to get your tacky glue round. And the filigree work isn't that filigree in that there's no spaces to glue down. You can use your glue dots, or even a mixture of tacky glue and glue drops, tacky glue and glue dot pen, dotty pen. Oh my goodness, what am I trying to say? So you could use a combination if you wanted to. If you've got the big Xyron, you could even pop it through on there, but you'd have to have the big one. Although saying that, it would glue all of it, which could be a bit of a problem later on. So maybe that's not quite such a good idea. So this is just going to slot directly onto the back, and I just don't want any pink to come through. Come on now, behave. So I don't want any pink to come over that edge. I want it to be a nice clean edge like that. Just going to pop that down and rub all over the back there just to make sure that's stuck nicely and it feels good. So let's bring this piece back. I'm just going to check that's nowhere near the edge, so that's nowhere near the crease, so that's perfect. So just going to go around with my tacky glue again, and using this sort of fine nib is perfect for this. So like I say, it's not so fine, this filigree work is not so fine that it would be a problem, but you've got your glue dots. You can put glue on the back of your hand as long as you've not got any reaction to it. However you would manage to glue this, I'm sure you've all got ways and means, or a little trick that you've picked up along the way. Is what usually happens, isn't it? There we go. So again, coming over, I'm going to go with that sort of B side rather than the A side. Put it down. Let's just have a little look on the other side. Yeah, it's looking good. Let's give it a good press down. And what I can do with this one, because I didn't put any glue anywhere near this side because I wasn't sure where it ended, I can then go in and add that up. I'm just going to check where the glue ended with that one, and again just put my little fine nozzle underneath, pop a bit of glue in. There we go, job done. Okay, so back to the assembly. So this is the top of the box because it is the wider one, like I said. So I'm going to take my tape off, pop a little bit of tacky glue on just for extra strength and a little bit of wiggle time, and then I'm going to come in corner to corner and pop that on. So that should comfortably come together and form our box, she says. What's going on with that one? Just hadn't quite cut to the corner there. That's what the problem was. Okay, so that's how we are at the moment. Okay, so then bottom of our box, and again a bit of tacky glue just to give us that bit of wiggle time. Just popping that onto the bottom there, and again that should come in quite nicely. It would if I hadn't of cut that one off. Okay, so let's just try that again. So yes and yes. Okay, so now I'm just going to go ahead and take these two sides off. Again with a bit of tacky glue. And then I want to ease that into position. That is going to come across because that's our support. And then I'm just going to press that down. I'll put my box on the side and I can get that one on. Okay, and then the same on this side, just pop that in so that it's square. Pop it on its side and give that a good press down. Okay, so same again on this side here and this side here. glue and some tacky glue. So again, popping it into position, giving it a good press down. So that red liner tape, you do need to give it a good press. I think it always works better if it does. And then last corner in. Put that down. Gluing so well on this side for some reason. Maybe I put a bit too much glue, maybe. Let's just hold that for a second while that goes off. There we go. So, and there we have the start of our box ready for decorating. Okay, so what I need to do next now then is just to start decorating this up. The first thing I want to do is to just decorate and reinforce the bottom. So I'm going to bring my trimmer back and I'm going to bring in one of these pieces from earlier. So I'm going to take that to 2 notches under the 6 and 2 notches under the 4, and that should fit quite nicely in there, and it does. And then I'm going to take a piece of this paper, so I think it's probably already going to be 6. Yes, it is. So if I cut it at 4 notches under the 4 and then turn that around and just take that to 4 notches under the 6, and this one I'm going to have the hummingbird upwards, so that's going to be the first thing that you see. So I think, yeah, I will use my purpose glue, a bit round. And I'm just going to pop a little bit of tacky in each of the corners just for a bit of quick stick. And then just popping that on. Giving it a good smush down. Make sure that's where I want it to be. Lovely. And then again, all-purpose glue. And that's going on the inside of my box. Just going to give that quite a good smush down and make sure it stays where I want it to be. Okay, so the inside of our box is looking good. So the next thing I want to do is this edge, these edges here. My idea with this box was to use maybe a craft magnet to get it to stick together. Now let me just grab those. I did put those aside. Here we go. So, and this was from Crafter's Companion that I got them. So to separate, oh, don't put it by your computer, not good. To separate them, it's best to sort of spread them away. And the idea I had was that maybe, I'm hoping it would work. Yeah. So my idea was to put it on the bottom and then put this one on the top, and then we could have something going over the top. So what I'm going to do is pop a little bit of red liner tape. Let's move that out of the way a second. We'll do this bit first of all with the bottom piece, and then when we do the top later on, we can hide it with a tag or something like that if we need to. So I'm just cutting round so that we haven't got any of that red liner showing. And then just give it a good burnish down. try and get the back off it. It's not easy with no nails. There we go. And then just underneath, round about in the middle, just going to pop that down. It doesn't matter which way you do it, because you just find the right way when you're putting the top on. Okay, so the other thing I need to do, I just want to hide that, so I'm going to take a little piece of this and I'm going to cut it to probably about an inch by an inch should be fine. I'm just wondering whether that's going to be the best way to hide it. And let me do one other thing. Put that in the safe for a second. And I want a little bit of the white, and I'm going to have that to 2 notches above the one. Just remembering my trick from the other day. Let's put this. So I wanted 2 notches above the one. Bit of tape on just to get that piece done. And then what I'm going to do, just with my knife, with the blade isn't all that good. Let's just check that fits first of all. Yeah, that fits fine. So I'm just going to go around the centre and cut out where our magnet's going to be, just to make it fit a little flush. So it's probably going to need to be a bit bigger than that, I would think. Oh, no, it's pretty good. Okay. So we'll put that back. Yes, that's fine. So I'm just popping that on the upstand of my table, just so that I don't lose it. I'll pop that over there like so. And then if I come in with some 3D glue gel all the way around. Oops, that's moved. Just going to pop that over. It's not quite flush to the card, but it's just going to hide that a little bit. We can put a decoration on that later on, a little flower or something, just to make it look like it's intentional. That's that. Okay, so back to the decorating. So let me grab my ruler. So this piece along here, I'm probably looking at doing a 3/4 of an inch piece. And I think for the rest of the box, I'm going to bring in a little bit of luxury and bring in a bit of gold to pick out, you know, because there are the gold tones going through this paper. So if I come in with a little bit of gold mirror, and let's move that over. So if I start at 3/4 of an inch, and I believe this is probably going to have to go to the 6, so we'll start there and see how that goes on. Yes, no, let's have a look. Actually, I'm going to take just 1 notch off. I think that should be better. Yeah. Okay, so we've got that one. And then this, I think, was the 6. So we're going to take this to, let's try 2 notches under the 6. And always trim it down a little more if we want. And that was 3/4 of an inch. So I'm just going to take it to 2 notches under that. Let's have a little look, see how that fits on. And that looks pretty nice. Yep. So that is that one. And then the other one, just grab my ruler again. And for this one, we are looking at 1 3/4. So 1 3/4. And then we went 1 notch under the 6. And we'll just see how that fits on. Yep. And then 1 3/4 minus 2 notches. Hopefully should be about right. Let's take a tiny wee bit of that. That will sit a little better then. Yeah. And then that one's going to go on there like that. Okay, so let's do these bits first of all, and then we can go ahead and do the sides. So they should be fairly easy once we get going. So I think it's not really going to make much sense if I do the flowers, so I'm going to carry on using that B side and just use some tacky glue. We've sort of gone to the purpley side of the paper now, so that's going to contrast with that pink. You know it's going to work together because it's all come out of the same pad. That's the brilliant thing about Crafter's Companion, isn't it? So you know that whatever you put together is going to work. I'm just going to take a little bit off the end of that one as well. Let me just a little notch. And that's going there. And get the same. Very nice. Okay, so these bits I think we're probably going to go flat. Because I am going to be putting a sentiment on, and that's going to be raised, so we'll go ahead and pop that on with the tacky glue. Could use your all-purpose, whatever works for you. There, just moving that over slightly if it's not too late. There we go. Sometimes the tacky glue moves a little, you know, a little bit more than you would expect it to. So that's on there like so. Okay, so you can see it's really sort of starting to come together now. Okay, so for the next, so for these sides, we're going to do the same again, just the gold and that pad. So we know this side is 2 inches by 6. And that one is 4 inches by 2. So I'm going to start with the gold, and I'm going to start at, I'm going to go 1 notch under the 2. First of all, just to try that for my first one. And then if we do this for the 6-inch one, so we'll go 1 notch under the 6 for that as well. And then if I hold that up to my side, I can see it would be better if we went for the 2 notches. So 2 notches under the 6, and 2 notches under the 2. Sorry, slamming down. So again, 2 notches under the 2, 2 notches under the 6, so that should be the other side. And then so the next one is going to be again, looking straight now. Let's go. So we want to go 2 notches under the 2. And 2 notches under the 4, and I will just check that fits nicely. Yeah. So again, 2 notches under the 2, 2 notches under the 4. Okay, so then now we just need to do our layers for that. So I've got 6 inches there, so if I go cut that down to 4 notches under the 6, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 notches under the 2. Hopefully that should fit on quite nicely, and it does. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that should go onto that one quite nicely. It does. And then if we go this one, so this one is 4 inches, so we want to go 4 inches under the 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4 inches under the 2. Oops. Okay. Check that one on there, and it's quite nice because we've gone a bit more pinky on this bit, so I like that. 1, 2, 3, 4 for our last piece. And we got that one there. That's fine. Okay. So now we can go ahead and stick these on. So I think again I'm probably going to go for the B side, just because otherwise you're just going to get bits of flowers. Oops. So just got a bit of glue on there. Thank goodness it's only my tacky glue. And let's put that the right way up. So just be wary, or just be aware of, once you're assembling this, if you've got writing on the page, like there is a little bit of writing on there, just make sure it's sort of the right way up. So I can see that's got a 9 on it, so that's that way. And I think that one's that way. What's going on there? There. Again, glue on my gold. Just hold that down a second, so it's just so it glues on that edge. And if you do get any glue on your gold, what you can do is just get a little bit of tissue, and as long as it's only the tacky, it won't harm it if you just buff it off with the bit of tissue. And then we've got this lovely purpley one, and you wouldn't think it all came from the same page, but it is beautifully done, this page, to coordinate. So it's, you know, it's going to look nice when it's all together. Sort of similar tones. And we've got this last piece going on here. That way a little bit. Okay. So now we can go ahead and just pop those on. And these will also help strengthen the box as well, so it's carrying out two little purposes for us. No, that's that side. There we go. There we go. So that's how our box is looking at the moment. That's coming up a little bit, so we'll just put a bit of pressure on that. So now what I need to do is work out on the decoration of the front. So obviously we have our magnet to go on. So what I'm going to do is put some green on that first of all. Oh, green, red liner tape. My brain isn't working very well today. Now what I need to do first of all, and this is quite important, is just make sure which way it's going on. So just to make sure I put the glue on the right side, because that could be a disaster if we do not. So again, just trimming that round. And then I have to try and get the red liner tape off the back with no nails. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is just let it find itself and let that stick down. Okay, so we know that's going to keep our box closed. But we need to work on the decoration to hide that. The other thing I want to do is put a bow at the bottom. So I was thinking if I had a sentiment here, which I may use the same one from the pack actually. There's, well, that's on the back of here. There is a plate here. So I was thinking maybe go in with that oh, get that off. With ourselves a small sentiment in the middle, and then I can have my bow at the bottom. Okay, so we might as well use them because they are there. So let's move that out the way. We'll bring our plate in. Now, have I got a piece of gold? I have. So we can pop. And what you could do is raid your bit box if you didn't want to cut into a nice square like that. Let's bring in some tape. Find the end. And there we've got that one there. And I want a little bit of, not been quite big enough. Let's see what size is that. That's perfect. And I'm going to cut a piece from here. Let me have a look at that centre because I'm not sure. Well, to. What size is that? Oh, it's quite a nice size actually for that. So let's pop that in the middle of there. That saves me having to get my knife into it. Okay, let's pop those through. No, I need the other bits, otherwise that's not going to work. There we go. There. Okay. So let's put that aside. And if I grab my pokey tool, which has disappeared, so let me just grab another one. It's coming. Or not. There we go. Debbie Fisher's trick works. Okay, so that's going to go on there. And then what I want is a white piece to go underneath this. So if I grab another piece of white, and if I grab my pencil, okay, I'm just going to put that over the top. Okay, so what I'm going to do is cut this round. I think that's probably going to be the best way to go, unless I go for a different type of nesting die, because I want to hide this bit here, and I want to raise it up, but this is going to be quite thin behind here, so let's change our mind on there. Okay, so I've decided I'm not going to do that with the drawing round. I'm going to cut it out again with this outer die. I am going to do it on the side that's not pearl, because I'm going to stamp on it. So I use the gold for as a background for it, so I'll still use the gold, and I'll still use that white, but I'll just have this piece here as well. So I'm just going to quickly just cut that out. Hiding there, and I'm going to bring in my stamping platform. Okay, and I'm going to use the Hunky Dory one, and I've got some sentiment even from box 51, the subs box 51, which I think was the Stamp and Stencil one. So I'm just going to pop that onto there. What I need to do is just pop that roughly in the right place so I know where my stamp needs to go. And I was wanting to use Fabulous Friend. So if I pop that on there, actually let's leave that as it is. on. I think that should be fine. There, move that out of the way. And I am using the waterproof ink just purely because that's on the top of the pile and it's black, so I'm using the black one. Okay, and these stamps haven't been stamped before, so I don't know how it's going to go, but we'll see. First time perfect. Absolutely smashing. Love that. Okay, so let's pop that there. Move that back. Oops, so there. And then I can pop my fabulous friend back in there. Also goes back in its home. What I'm also going to do, which I haven't done on any of the papers, but I'm going to bring in a little bit of lavender ice. So new, it hasn't been used. And I bring in a dog, I think. So I just want a little bit on the outside, so I'm not going crazy. Sorry if the thing moves, I just knocked the table with my chair. So I just want to take a little bit into the edges just to bring it all together. So I'm just going all the way around. What I could have done if I wanted was pop the dye over the top and then inked through the dye, but so this would have been more purple rather than white. But sorry, my sister just calling me. Yeah, so what you can do is if you pop your dye over and then you ink around, and then this outside would stay white and then the inside would be whatever colour you did it. But I wanted it, because I've got the white going on there, I didn't want my sentiment to be purple. So right, so I'm just going to pop some of this glue on the back of my hand, just because this is quite a filigree piece, and I'm popping that over. And we can just sort of centralise that over our piece. Pop it down. A bit messy there, but that will be sorted. Don't you worry about that. Okay. And then we've got this piece here which is going to go over there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this piece flat, and then this piece is going to be raised on it. So I'm just deciding. My idea was to, because I had this bit of pink, I think it's come out of one of the subs boxes and it was loose. I've got a narrower one here, I've just noticed. Oh no, it's the same one. So yeah, so I got this pink, so this was my plan, to use this and pop this on the bottom. Let's just grab that round. To a nice position, so that's going to go on the bottom, and then we're going to have our thing there. So the other option I've got is to do my greeting that way, so that the box sits that way, but I don't like that as much, so I think I'm going to stick with my original idea and we'll go this way. So I'm going to put loads of tacky glue on the back of here, and we're going to pop that over our magnet, hopefully quite straight, like so. And then it looks like, let me just pop some glue and that on there while I refill this up. So it's just run out a little bit of my 3D glue gel, so I'm just going to grab the pot. Okay, so we may manage to save it. Just hadn't put the top on properly, so it had dried up a little bit in the lid. So it's not all that great now, if I'm honest with you, but we did manage to get some moving. There we go. So not much left on it anyway now, so I think it gets harder once you get near the end of the bottle. Right, let's keep that safe. Well, at least this has had plenty of time to be gluing straight flat down. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just put a nice big blob all the way around that magnet. That's going to do a couple of things for me. That's going to make sure my magnet stays in place, and it's going to give me a nice bit of lift on here. I'm just going to put that down so we've got a little bit of drop shadow at the top there. And the other thing now is just to trim up our ribbon. And we're going to put that down here. Again, we will use some of our 3D glue gel. Okay, so that's on there. And then the last thing I wanted to do was just to, well, two things actually. I wanted to put some pearls on because you know I like to put some pearls on, but I also wanted to put a couple of flowers on as well. Okay, so I've got these little foam flowers here. So I'm going to bring in one of the dies that I've used before, and I think I'll use the hearts again, because it's either the hearts or the stars. I don't think I want to use the stars, so we'll use the hearts. But what I'm going to do this time, rather than cut them out of gold or anything, I'm going to come in with a little bit of green. So I'm just going to take some green card out of this book here, and I'm going to pop this onto here. And I could go with I could have gone with some pink ones, but I just thought I'll come in, or I could have gone with gold, but I just thought I'm going to bring them in because I really want them to be sort of instead of our leaves. Okay, so let me just back through. I'm just going to clean my pokey tool off from all of that glue gel I was using, and pop this out gently. Get there. There we go, and I just need to pop all of those little centres out, those hearts out. So like I say, this is just going to be instead of my leaves, because I've not cut any leaves out today. Just using up these foam flowers that I had. And if you wanted to, you could make them if you've got the sort of foam flowers and the dies and such. You can make your own. So let's see, so if I go in like that on there, I can feel that's just gone into that 3D, and that one's done the same, so we'll just give that a bit of dimension. And I'm going to come a little bit glue there. There's our pink one, a darker pink one. And I'm just going to gently wind this stem around there, just so we get that nice little twizzle. And obviously if you're going to let children handle these, probably this is not the best thing, as they are a bit sharp on the end. Okay, so I'm just going to put another little blob in there. A bit more on the back as well. Put that there. Sorry, excuse my hands. Just must have a little blockage in there now. Right. Hopefully that should be enough just to get that in there. Like so. Okay. So we'll deal with that 3D glue gel later. And then lastly, like I said, we're just going to come in with some pearls. Just a couple, not too many. And I've got my picker upper there, so we'll just pop a few on the mat. And tacky glue, and I'm just going to go on these edges, anywhere that looks like it needs something. Just pop those on. And this is optional, or you could go in with purple ones if you wanted. Just going to put one underneath there. I've got one missing there as well. Okay, and then same again on this side. Just put a few blobs of glue where you think maybe it would look nice. And then pop them in. Just gonna have a look and see. I might put one just on each end of there, just to tie that in with our design. Excuse me. And that's it. So that's our little magnetic clasp box. So you've got your sort of decorated on the inside like you saw. I'm going to leave that as it is. I think that's fine. And that will snap shut. So it's got a nice little clippy noise to it. We've got our decoration going on all around it. So and that was with the classic lace edgeables there. The, sorry, Create Card dies. So that's it for today. Back to Hunky Dory next time. I may also tomorrow I might print out some of the bits from the new Pollyanna Pickering kit and make a quick card with that, but it would be just a quick sort of 10-15 minute video. It won't be a long one, but we'll see if we can get that put in tomorrow. And then after that, obviously it's going to be back to Hunky Dory. I'm not sure if I'm going to go back to that decollage kit or whether I'm going to go on to something else just for a change. I'll decide on the day, I think, unless I come up with something in the meantime. I've got the new birds kit, and I'd quite like to have a little play with that because I really enjoyed the last bird kit that they did. But that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves. Bye bye.